We started the day with North American Heroes of the Storm with one upset. Will we get another? Hey guys, Gillyweed and Dread here at the Heroes Global Championship. We just witnessed Team Freedom take out Team Naventic 3-1 in that series.
Yeah, it was the upset of century, really. I can't help but feel like it's only going to be uphill here for Freedom for some time. They still got a lot to work on, but I mean, it seems like they're a group that is going to be able to figure it out soon. Very exciting, but now it is Team 8 versus Tempo Storm.
It is. Let's take a look at the standings, check in again, and see where Team Freedom are now with that huge victory over Team Naventic. You see a 2-2 as they move ahead tomorrow. They could even make it 3-2, but they have B-Step standing in their way, and they won't be an easy competitor after seeing B-Step play yesterday. However, Team 8 and Tempo Storm at the top.
Yeah, and now is the moment where one of them ends up falling. And not too far, to that being said. It's just a little swap potential coming out there. We had Team 8 towards the top there, purely on the fact that they have been more efficient with their victories so far. But they're yet to really kind of take on the names that Tempo Storm really has been able to so far, even being able to get wins over like Naventic. Exactly.
Let's take a look at our schedule one last time for today. We started out in Europe where Misfits went up with a score of 3-0 over Synergy, although Synergy had a lot of hard-fought fights. Then Team Expert fell to Team Dignitas 3-1, but we still had an upset when Team Freedom took out Team Naventic, and now we're looking at the most anticipated match of North America so far, and that is Tempo Storm versus Team 8. These two, again, only undefeated teams left in HGC North America. They have a lot of playmakers on either side too, and both of them really want to be able to set the tone and say, we are the top of North America right here, right now.
Yeah, and I think it would mean a lot more for Team 8 than it would Tempo Storm. So if they manage to be able to get this win, I think it really sets the future for this roster over Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm is the expected victor, just with their past being together as long as they have, being the longest standing roster of all of North America, have been so successful, competing internationally. So Team 8, even though they have been more efficient in their games, I still would consider the underdog in this series.
But Tempo Storm were ones who struggled a little bit versus some of their previous competitors, going to 5 games quite a lot, even with Team Freedom. Before we dive too deep into this matchup, let's hear from the players themselves, Team 8 versus Tempo Storm.
Team, because they have a lot of experience together as that 5-man roster. I think that's really important. Last season, they were Murlocs and Astral, and they managed to achieve a lot. But on top of that, their experience and synergy together, I think, is only half of the reason why they're going to be a tough match, and that's just because they have some really mechanically strong players too. I think Solemn as a player has grown so much from the 2016 season. I'm excited to play against him because he really tests my reaction speed and stuff like that. So it's always fun to play against a player you have to respect.
I think they're mostly solo queue oriented team, other than Cloud, who's been one of the top 10 before. And Yoda is known as a Diablo 3 god, but I don't really think he's god in hearts. So, but who knows? They could come up with this crazy strats that no other team played before.
We played Tempo Storm with my old team at the last PAX, and they kind of cheesed us with Cho'Gall. So it would be kind of nice to get some payback, maybe with no cheese, or maybe with some cheese on our end.
There are a group of pretty strong players, I think, individually, and they do all have pretty good talent overall, but overall their teamwork is definitely lacking just because they're more used to the individual solo queue experience, and that does kind of lead them to struggle working together as a team. And I think we have a huge advantage in that sense because we're much more of a single unit, and I think that should give us a strong edge over them.
A lot of this series will come down to the players, but especially the drafting and the choices that are made there. We talked about how in the past series, Tempo Storm has been struggling with the current meta. They've even said and tweeted about how much they dislike the current meta as it stands, and it's one that it seems like Team 8 has really been thriving in. How much focus are you hoping to see on players like Glaurung, or are you looking to see if maybe there will be focus on different players from Tempo Storm on Team 8?
I think I'd be comfortable with starting out if Tempo Storm just worked on their own game. They did their own own thing. They didn't focus on, the Medivh we expect to be coming out on the side of Team 8. But if things go ugly when letting that go through, from that point on, putting heavy concentration towards it, I don't think in the long run it necessarily is the tale of the best team in the world if they do that focus, but I can really understand for this close of a game to be, putting that focus into what is Glorong going to play and how can we make sure that he doesn't get on something overly comfortable for the group.
We can look at some of the other players too, besides Glaurung, and how they match up in this series. We wanted to talk about Fury versus Justing and Buds June. So we're going to start with Buds versus June. Now, I see such a parallel between these two players, specifically that when June all of a sudden made a name for himself, his first team was here with Tempo Storm, then Murloc Geniuses, and instantly became a name that you would fear as a support. And Buds, after his series last week, looks to be the same way.
Yeah, Buds is really rising to the top of supports for North America. I very much agree with you. His play style, he's been making plays left and right for his team, but the thing I want to note here is the 2.6% of the time dead on the side of June, whereas looking at the 3.4, not that drastically different. Usually both of those are far above league average when looking at that, but the fact that June has played more games, he has been less successful, less dominant in his matches, and still is surviving a bit more. I can't help but feel like that is a pretty heavy tell for the strength of a support here, maybe leaning a little bit towards June.
Yeah, June also has the highest KDA in Tempo Storm specifically, and the highest as a support in North America. Let's move on to Justing versus Fury. Now, both of these teams have some serious history when it comes to their Diablo. I talked to Justing after they won their last match, and I said, I think you could be the best Diablo. And he said, I don't know, Fury's is pretty good too. And after they won that series, Fury tweeted Justing and said, good job, see you next weekend. And Justing said, may the best Diablo win. Justing's Diablo is currently 5 out of 5. Fury's is 3 out of 3.
Yeah, and when looking at, some of the numbers that we have in front of us, the KDA is sitting pretty close, time spent dead as well. The two differences are in fact going to be when it comes to the hero damage and then when it comes to the time amount, like CC. And so Fury obviously being a bit more controlled, whereas Justing has, been in your face doing a bit more of harassment. And overall, I mean, it's just going to be who can use those kind of strengths. Is that CC going to be enabling Tempo Storm to really catch up? Because when you even look at their playstyle, it seems a little bit more of the comfort of their team rather than just the player themselves. Whereas Justing is go in, he does damage, he's got Medivh to be able to back him up on the Diablo, whereas Tempo Storms is more macro focused, buy a little bit of time, I'll open the initiation, my team will follow up and confirm the kills. So it's how swift they're going to be able to capitalize on those type of things with the playstyle of both their supports and their warriors.
And both of those two are the highest warrior KDAs in all of HGC North America, with Justing just slightly being ahead of Fury. It's time to find out where our first game between Tempo Storm and Team 8 will take place.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, considering the macro-oriented game is probably more in favor of Tempo Storm, but they've showed heavy trends on certain maps, and we're going to be going to Cursed Hollow, choice there by Team 8. All right, so we already got to look at what is Tempo Storm's trends that we see so heavily. Forfeiting the first tribute has been a very heavy staple for them. Committing with the isolation of the Giants, they'll split push as long as possible. They'll try and keep 4 people to defend while peeling with the other. I expect Team 8 to be the first team to heavily punish that. It's just been too almost ritualistic for Tempo Storm at this point to really not expect that a team of the caliber of Team 8 would not be there to be able to punish it.
Not only is this the battleground choice of Team 8, but it has constantly been the battleground choice of Team 8. They do very much enjoy playing on Cursed Hollow.
It makes a lot of sense too, considering 3 of Glorong's known heroes. This is their best map. It's the Medivh, you've got the Zeratul, and, well, not so much his best, but close. And in
Tracer.
fact, not only the Tracer, just the Illidan on top of it.
Right.
Every one of a Glorong hero, we might as well call Cursed Hollow just the Glorong map, because when his heroes thrive in this kind of scenario, Zeratul Tracer already removed. Is Team 8 just going to open with that Medivh in this transition? Because I don't know if they can bank on being able to get it later into the draft, or if Tempo will put more focus.
Ragnaros, Malfurion. Ragnaros and Malfurion have been consistent picks for Team 8 too, and Malfurion has been the clear favorite actually for Tempo Storm as a support. They've picked Malfurion in their first rotation in 7 out of their 13 games so far, so that's a strong deny from teammate to take away from Tempo.
Yeah, and the first pick Zeratul on the side of Tempo as well. It's been relatively frequent in the fact that it's been 4 out of their 13 games. They have ended up first picking that. And on Kurstalo, we saw it again on Sky, I want to say. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Tempo has been leaning relatively heavily onto that Zeratul pick.
Yeah, Psalm's Zeratul is 5 out of 5 undefeated in games.
Do they Diablo Tychus? That's a rotation that we saw for Tempo Storm when they open up with that Zeratul. They look for the duo combo. They look to be able to get that burst.
May the best Diablo win. It looks like it, but False Stat will be added to that, making sure that teammate can't get a Mighty Gust to try to stop that heavy disengage.
I love the False Stat over the Tychus on this map. It fits into what we know Tempo Storm wants to make happen. When it comes to the delay, when it comes to the globals, getting the soak into the side lane, Cawthon absolutely adores that hero. So I'm not surprised to be able to see that rotation for them.
Not only that, Falstad is doing extremely well
Imagine
in HGC
that.
North America. When we went into today, 75% win rate.
Ooh, baby.
Highest of, I think, any ranged assassins disregarding Tracer.
I mean, he can go auto attack, he can go burst, he's got a global, he's got engage,
Gust,
he's got
boss
disengage,
control.
he has an escape, he can survive most 1v1s. No surprise there. The Falstad, he's taken off, if you will, I guess, here in North America. Teammate now, what do they want to ban? They're going to get rid of the Kharazim, something that we've seen Tempo Storm play a couple of times. June. There onto his Kharazim, and now what is Tempo? They aren't going to focus anything onto Glorong. They're going to be able to let it go through.
Let's see if Medivh is grabbed here, or if teammate are fine just leaving it till the end if they have more important picks that they want. It's not necessarily Medivh too. Glau could come out with some other picks. He's played Dahaka in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that, obviously Glorong hasn't played those other heroes or done well with them, but it is kind of the filling into what Glorong is very much known for specific heroes, and his team typically is going to be thriving when he is on those. So we'll see what route they go. Specifically, what I would want to see from them, I do expect the Tychus or the Vala to be picked up in this rotation. Nor neither, screw it. Just go Zarya Varian. The lockdown potential there. The survivability is going to be there as well. Interesting choice to move into that here for Team 8. No backline, at least not yet. Well,
yeah.
Tempo
well,
Storm.
it still will be Yoda, I think. Although I think Yoda also could be the Zarya player, just depending on where teammate wants to take this composition. So there's some flexibility within that. Same with Ragnaros, although Prismaticism, he's the one I would want on Ragnaros for teammate. He's another one with a perfect win rate with a hero. 5 out of 5 for Ragnaros.
I mean, it turns out when you're good at the video game, you're going to be able to get those wins on those heroes. And teammate and Tempo Storm have been both so successful. Not surprised to hear just the, undefeated here and there, no matter the hero. The question is, where does Tempo go from here? Into their draft. They've got the Tychus. They need to be able to lock in the support. Is it just going to be the Rhaegar that keep things a little simple? Is going to be the choice now. Does Team 8 move into the Medivh? Do they go something else? I can't help but feel like it's got to be that. Just into with the Varian, the portal plays.
Last time they did this versus B-Step, they ended with Asmodan, and it was Asmo, Ragnaros, Zarya, ETC, Malfurion. So the only difference here is Varian.
No way. There's no way they do that again.
Do they open up versus Tempo Storm with the cheese justing promised?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought they were typing in "let the games begin" like they were about to unleash whatever craziness might be here. Okay, so say it's not Asmodan. Probably a Yoda pick. Li Ming is still a possibility.
Yeah, I feel like it's obviously got to be a backliner. It is going to be the Medivh route. Man. All right, well, teammate here is now given Tempo Storm a lot of what they wanted. A lot of what they've wanted. This is very Tempo Storm oriented, and I feel like a lot of the draft is very Team 8-ish. Not as much focus onto the backline as I would expect. Usually Medivh isn't going to be the solo backliner there. But the rest of the composition with the Varian, with the Ragnaros, Malfurion, all that kind of works out a little bit more of, you know, what it means to be teammate, I guess, at this point.
That's the unkillable composition versus the we will kill you composition.
I just can't help but feel like Tempo Storm is going to do what they do best when it comes to just soaking onto the sidelines and things get out of control very quickly. The initiation has to be very much on point for teammate throughout this entire game, capitalizing like we saw teams like Team Freedom do pretty well into Tempo Storm whenever they're going to be split soaking with that Falstad, get the initiation, but there's a Void APOC combo as a response. It's going to be a tough one. Medivh play has to be almost flawless.
Is that it? It's just banking on the Medivh? That's all teammate have going for them?
No backliner and supplemented a Medivh. Yeah, a lot of this, it puts an insane amount of pressure to heavy portal use and ridiculous Medivh damage output. Is
it a focus maybe on the boss points specifically? They have Zarya with Expulsion Zone, portals to move around it. Sulfurous Smash, like, is that the game-winning move for teammate?
I mean, it could be. The boss control is obviously pretty good, but does a match of Gust?
And Void.
There are a lot better controls on the opposite side of the battlefield. So it's just being effective with rotations, with the macro game, and then when you initiate, be efficient, but also successful, really. So it's Team 8's Battleground choice. How important do you think it is for teammate specifically that they win on Cursed Hollow? I would say it's a pretty big deal. I think it would be just, again, because it's probably the most diverse when it comes to their strategies and opportunities. They aren't as crippled as some of the other maps. So I think if they were to get a win, I think Cursed would probably be one of the better ones for them. Especially since Infernal Shrines was one banned. Guys, it's time for game number 1 between Teammate and Tempo Storm. And so on the left-hand side here is the underdog squad. Buds, the support on the rise on Malfurion. Justing is going to be playing the Varian. Yoda onto the Zarya. Medivh, as always, going to be played there by Glorong. And last is Prismaticism on the Ragnaros. And in the red, your previous North American champions, Tempo Storm. June is playing Rhaegar Fury on Diablo. Cothenluck once again playing his Falstad. Psalm on his undefeated Zeratul, and Caterpillar will be playing Tychus. The commitment here, Tempo Storm is going to be 5-manning towards bottom, Ragnaros obviously on the top half of the map, and Varian in mid. So we'll see if they capitalize onto this. Only going to have 1 global. Be very sneaky. All right, here comes the engagement. Big root, a lot of damage coming out. The turret's not going to be deleted yet.
Well, it's going to jump down. There. Fury's going to get taken out.
Oh, Fury, is he going to end up hitting it? There he goes. It's Force of Will is going to be used, and now Tempo Storm there with a very optimistic initiation onto that turret here. Was very well punished already for teammate.
And the roots were the start of that, definitely. That was an early B step from Yoda to bring out. Just saying, it's game number 1, Yoda.
You got to start him early, you know. Morale starts the minute the gates drop, and so he's going to be looking to get that harassment whenever he can. Psalm and Justing's in the mid lane. And here comes Fury and June as well to be able to join. Will they get the skirmish? For now, team's going to be, you know, a little bit more patient, especially Tempo Storm. I was trying to figure out the thought. If you wondered my confused tone on that engagement towards the bottom turret, the fact that all 5 committed was with only having Falstad as the global and not being an absolute global, it just seems a little greedy beyond the fact that it was very well punished on the side of Team 8.
And especially because Team 8 were in position fast to start soaking those lanes right away, and not only that, got a kill from it. It's a nice start to their Battleground choice for Team 8.
Yeah, and now we're going to see the Giant phase is in fact going to be spawning soon. We'll see who gets the upper hand here. Again, Tempo Storm has been so repeatedly approaching the map objective with the Falstad here on Cursed Hollow by getting that split soak elsewhere on the map. We'll see if teammate's going to be the one who is there to be able to get the punish. Speaking of punish though, harass coming in from Justing. No response though on the side of Fury. I thought for a minute there we'd see him engage, and neither team backed out for the Giants yet.
Looking at some of the talents, once again, Cothenluck going for his signature at this point move of Seasoned Marksman on Falstad. does pair that up with either, it's usually Boomerang, but then either can go into Flow Rider at 13 or Giant Killer. Given that there's double Warriors on Teammate, could be that he wants to go into Giant Killer there, but we'll have to see as he continues to level up.
Tribute going to be spawning on the top half. Portal's already down as well. That's going to be the last shield available for Glarong. The stun comes out, the flip as well. He ends up going down here. Tribute spawning on the top half of the map. Malfurion and June are the only two to make this transition for now. Tempo Storm committing everybody to bottom though. For now, Fawcett now looks like he's going to keep that transition. Cattle staying down there though on that Tychus. So we'll see how this Tribute works out, but a positive position to be in here if you are Tempo.
Psalm starting to work his way up as well as Diablo, so having Falstad in the bottom lane, as long as Tempo Storm can delay this, doing what they do best, delaying safely, not losing anybody, and maximizing the usage of Falstad, but Teammate aren't necessarily falling for it. They're keeping Medivh in mid, Zarya is staying there to counter Falstad bottom. So now it just becomes a who can win out on the 3v3.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Now, Falstad has committed to the flight onto mid. He revealed himself in the process, though. So now Teammate understands they're behind in the rotation. So they should be looking to buy time, you know, poke it out for a moment, and then be looking to get that initiation. Bloods goes in with the Elun's Grace. There's going to be the first poke. He burns his W, so nobody's going to be enraged to interrupt Fury. A bit of a miscommunication on the side of Teammate, but in the end, Tempo Storm here is in fact going to be able to pick up this first Tribute. But experience is almost dead even. Not most teams, you know, finish the first Tribute phase in Curse Hall against Tempo Storm on the same footing.
Tempo Storm immediately moved to grab their bruisers. Medivh scouting this out, has seen as such, but nobody's in a place yet where they can do the same for Team 8. Instead, just doing what they can here in the lanes to keep up with experience. Level 7's almost here for Teammate. That is going to be a very important time for them as Master's Touch starts going into play.
Yeah, the Master's Touch is something that Teammate is really going to need to see value out of. Again, having no backline or initiation with the portals and then just the poke that they might be able to provide there, it's just going to be very difficult. So look at that. I mean, Tempo Storm has lost the first game in 2 of their last 3 series, so.
Yeah, I remember talking to Tempo Storm at PAX, and they said that it's classic them to go down at the beginning. Oh, Prismaticism thrown back. Nice rotation in from Fury to make sure that they can secure the deal, but I talked to Tempo Storm, it was Fury, he said, we always end up falling early on in a tournament and then being able to come back later on in the tournament. I wondered how that momentum would work here in HGC specifically, since it's not a tournament over time. But in this case, it seems to be working out for them because they're still able to do it within the series.
Yeah, and hopefully that trend is going to continue here for Tempo Storm as they end up getting their second Tribute now onto the map. Teammate, after losing Prismaticism there on bottom, was not able to contest that. Now the teams backing out. Giants and Knights will be captured. Experience pretty close to even, but Tempo Storm, for the most part, with that 1 kill advantage and the 2 Tributes, has managed to slightly eke their way into the first place position here so far into this game. But, you know, things always change once 10 hits. The gameplay suddenly becomes a lot more dramatic, a lot riskier in every way. And we'll see if they're going to be able to make it work. And Teammate, man, they're just in a tough spot so far into this game. With the draft that they managed to be able to pick up and the picks working out so far for Tempo Storm, we haven't even gotten to the 10 Wombo combo that exists yet, let alone the, you know, macro-oriented Falstad play that comes out of Cawthon.
Speaking of 10, depending on when this Tribute drops, this could be an issue for Teammate that they have to leave somebody to soak up for 10. Portal goes down. A lot of people starting to try to take down towers and push this wave, but now everybody from Teammate is all the way in the top. Falstad has been pushing with Giants freely in the bottom, and he may just take that down. Bud's in trouble. Fury jumps in on top of him. Psalm is there too. Force of Will buys time for Buds. He drops the self-root, but gets taken out, and now Justing might be the next one to fall. Yeah,
Justing is going to walk into the void, but it will not get him out of this situation. Medivh there with the shield. Cursed is now going to be picked up for Tempo Storm as kills are happening on the map as well. Everything is looking very, very good, but Teammate now managing to be able to pick up their 10s. Leyline, Seal, Expulsion, Sulfura Smash, Twilight Dream, and I doubt Varian goes anything other than taunt at this point, so. Tempo Storm, though, now is going to be able to get the siege onto the map. Top fort falling down for them, making the transition probably towards mid next, and then back out, take their own boss. They're just such a textbook play here so far for them.
Clean early game for Tempo Storm moving into the first curse. And the nicest part of that is that they don't have the problem of a curse quickly following for Team 8. They got the first 3 tributes of the game. So whatever they net out of this curse is value. And now there is the rotation over to their boss. Team 8 are going to do the same. Cawthon scouts it out, gets taunted, and a follow-up root Sulfura smash deletion of Falstad.
Yeah, very great play there by Cawthon, and great punishment coming out from Team 8, realizing there is no way he's by himself. Their team is on the boss. Commit the resources, get the kill, and make Tempo Storm's victory a little, slow down a little bit here. The only thing I would have liked to see out of Team 8, though, is somebody soak that top lane. Just because now that the curse has ended, that was a lot of experience that built up there, and they've sacrificed not a lot. Not only the damage that's going to happen, but more the experience lost. Knowing Tempo Storm took that boss trade in the middle of the curse, it was a smart choice to be able to mirror them. Just can't help but feel like they lost a little bit too much experience on the map. Now they are full level behind.
And with that one curse, Tempo Storm have started to put permanent damage on the top keep of Team 8. Behold Ragnaros gives the indication that Molten Core is being used to buy time for the defense of this keep. It's about halfway down now, and Team 8 just struggling with damage and being able to take out the boss, but will do so in time to save the keep.
Yeah, eventually they're going to be able to get to that point, but again, without the backliners, they don't have necessarily the best raw damage as a group there, especially without the Master's Touch completed. On that note, though, Master's Touch, in fact, has managed to, it's not even 25% of the way done yet, and, but there also hasn't been a full, skirmish yet or much harass opportunity for Glaurung.
Yeah, he's been on scouting duty for the members of Tempo Storm, and of course isn't going to drop out of Raven form and sacrifice what few stacks he has. So that's why we're seeing a delay in him being able to close out that talent. But it is so important to Team 8 that they're able to get that.
Yeah, it is very, very important for them. 13 talent here out of reach for a while. We see Prismaticism looking to get the soak, but again, just the pressure. Tempo Storm is known for being that macro team. The pressure they put onto the map, constantly forcing you to take tough decisions, and hopefully they pull themselves ahead here. But the draft on the side of Team 8 has only allowed that to be a little bit easier in the fact that they have picked no backline, which means their best wave player is by far Ragnaros.
There's Graviton Surge, though. Taunt comes in, follow-up Sulfura Smash, Void Prison hits the backline, and with Ancestral Healing, Tempo Storm are happy to start taking this fight. Leyline Seal grabs 4 of the members. Team 8 are going to go into this once again, and with the follow-up Twilight Dream, Falstad's eliminated. Team 8 get a kill they finally needed. Yeah,
that was very well done, and now they are not done. Prismaticism is looking to engage. Portal should be up soon, see if Glaurung is able to enable his team. It looks like that's not going to be the case. They're backing out as the tribute ends up spawning here. Giants and Knights still pressuring for Tempo Storm, but being down the Falstad, it looks like they're going to forfeit this and the first tribute of the game here for Team 8.
Falstad did go into Giant Killer and also is over halfway done with Seasoned Marksman stacks. Neither stacking things. Lion's Maw is about halfway done, and Demolition's Expert and Sulfurous Hungers are both done.
Do you know what happened to Zeratul in that last fight? I couldn't see it. I was trying to find it, but why did the APOC or the Void not drop? Was there a reason? Was there a taunt? Was there a stun?
It's on cooldown.
Yeah, the Void went up, the APOC hit, but then he didn't drop the Void. I didn't actually get to see it. We'll see if we manage to catch up to that later or see, get a little insight into that. But either way, we saw the attempted combo, and it just wasn't working out. I couldn't tell. Again, Varian could have been CCing him to where it was just impossible, but Tempo Storm was, obviously drafting that as Zeratul was their first pick, Diablo in the next rotation. They had some intent of having that combo be a threat here over Team 8. 16 talents here is going to be picked up soon, but first, the tribute on the bottom half. Team 8's just forfeiting it.
Yeah, Tempo Storm are too close to 16 to want to play that game. They already engaged down a talent tier once before, and without needing this tribute, instead, Team 8 are going to play base cleanup again, and getting Giants will help a lot with this top lane, which has been a constant focus for Team 8, knowing that that keep is so low.
Yeah, they've been just babying it to make sure that it doesn't go down. And one curse the opposite direction would be enough to be able to, shoot the arrows and be able to take her down. 16 talent tier is going to be here now for Tempo Storm. And we're yet to really even get a skirmish. Tempo Storm just out macros the game, and Team 8 doesn't have the wave clear nor the, just the team fight options to be able to choose or stop what Tempo Storm has done. It is got to be infuriating from a teammates' perspective, you know, that they're just always a talent tier down, always getting rid of something, always clearing this, never really looking towards the fight.
Checking out boss timers. In 8 seconds, Tempo Storm's boss will be up. Timo starting to sort of move down below. Oh, perfect positioning for Tempo Storm. And without 16 yet again, what will Team 8 choose to do? Are they going to try to fight over this tribute, which is a tough position anyway, let alone the fact that it's next to the boss?
Oh man, this could be really bad for Team 8.
Yeah.
All right, so Team 8 is now chosen to stop the boss. That is not going to be able to go down. There's going to be the taunt combo cleanse coming out from June to be able to peel off of Fury. There's a bit of a split, but not enough damage to get the harass. 16 talents here is still up here for Tempo Storm. Keep that in mind. Glorong dropping the portal, walking in, saying, hey, what's up? Psalm by himself, though. Not going to be able to get the interrupt. Yoda, in fact, picks up this tribute. But Tempo Storm just looking to get that push. Bud's eating a bit of harass. Justin taking along for the ride there as the teleport out from Psalm. But Tempo Storm is going to be able to push with this boss, and teammates still looking for 16. There's no way they keep this keep up. Molten Core can't even keep this up.
Yeah, I think maybe they'll wait. And Molten Core, no, he's going to do it earlier on.
Oh,
he gets stunned out of going to Molten Core. He was sitting underneath the boss. Now Psalm is going after Ragnaros, but Prismaticism gets back in time. 3 members underneath Void Prison.
He's actually in Leyline Seal. There we go. Leyline Seal was the one to be able to stop the momentum of that combo. Team 8, though, is on full retreat. Justing is barely going to get the shield to go up. Twilight Dream is dropped there by Buds, getting a lot of harass, but already 2 members down. Gust is going to be used. Glorong is the next focus here for them. Zeratul ends up dropping, so a 3-for-1 trade, but it looks like Tempo Storm is going to be able to move on to the core. The shield's already down, and they are just setting their full focus onto it here. Game number 1. Oh, it's not gonna, no way. They aren't committing. They're backing out.
Well, Prismaticism there, that was a huge empower. Sulfurous Fullstat flies into the back. Fury and Cawthon are on the other side, but Prismaticism is zoning Tychus away. Buds, do what you can! You Malfurion God, but no way. Okay, so Tempo Storm takes what looked to be for a second scary around the core.
Yeah.
But otherwise, very calculated game throughout for Tempo.
Yeah, it was once they got, 3 people hit by Ragnaros Q and the reset comes up pretty fast. They had to back right on out for a moment, but they were there to be able to secure the win. That was the only moment where it really looked like teammate might have had a moment in that game to be, gain control, be able to get, dictate the pace of the game at any point, really. Very calculated play coming out from Tempo Storm, but teammates got to make adjustments because not a single thing from Tempo Storm was different. They knew what was coming in. They've already tried their hand. They played the Medivh. They're playing their own play style. Now it's time to mix things up.
Yeah, it feels like something was off maybe that got taken away from them for Team 8. But we're going to go to a commercial break. When we return, we'll have game number 2 between Tempo Storm and Team 8.
Peace. It has been my life's work. Through honesty and diplomacy, there is no obstacle. There is no obstacle we can't overcome. Within each of our hearts lies a yearning for peace. Even in this odd place, I truly believe that each of us can find a way to live in harmony. As I was saying, I am Jaina Proudmoore. We don't need to fight, but if you insist, so be it.
My team's the best, honestly. I love Gale Force Esports. I love my teammates.
My team's goal would be top 3.
I think they got stronger with Equinox. I think he's a really aggressive tank.
Oh, that is a team that is a straight wild card.
HGC this year pretty much means everything.
I think that team it's definitely an underdog.
I think Psalm as a player has grown so much from the 2016 season.
If the meta does favor them, they can draft comps that they play really well.
I think we're the strongest team mechanically.
I just want to get top 3 and go to the Brawl.
With leadership under Fan, they're quite good.
I think we could beat them, but it won't be easy.
Terran Marines are the toughest frag magnets in the galaxy. But when they're in trouble, guess who they call? Winning a battle is more than just shooting enemy soldiers. It's about saving your own. I protect every member of my squad with my life. Sometimes I think I'm the